Hey, Golden Eagle fans, I'm Southern Miss Stadium announcer Jackson Walker, and you're listening to Nasty Bunch and Beyond.
How's it going, everybody? Welcome in to another episode of Nasty Bunch and Beyond podcast. I'm your host, Dalton Trigg. Today I'm rejoined by a special guest, Campbell. He joined me a few weeks back. He's back to mostly talk about some of the moves that the Southern Miss baseball team made this offseason. Had a very great transfer portal class, in my opinion. Thought they did a great job there. And then obviously there's a very talented freshman class coming in as well. But before we get into all that, just want to let everybody know that this episode of Nasty Bunch and Beyond podcast is brought to you by our partners at To The Top Collective, To The Top Merch, and Shantyman Premium Jerky. You can use our promo code To The Top Merch, which is Nasty Bunch Pod, and get 20% off your entire purchase there. You can use our promo code SMTTT at shantymanfoods.com and get 30% off your purchase there. Okay, Campbell, so before we get into all the baseball stuff, I just wanted to make a couple of notes. So on Southern Miss Golden Eagles on SI, we've covered a lot of ground here lately since the last time I did a podcast. It's probably been, 2-3 weeks. I was going to do one last week, but as you can probably hear in my voice, I've been a little under the weather. I'm still getting back from that. But so as far as football is concerned, our guy, Andy Borelli, who recently added to the staff not too long ago, he's been doing this greatest USM football season of all time series, kind of a bracket style thing. It started out with 32 teams, 32 of the best seasons in Southern Miss football. We're about halfway through the Sweet 16 part of it now, and we've been taking fan votes on our Southern Miss Golden Eagles on SI Facebook page. So be sure to go check that out. Be sure to vote. It's there's a little bit of recency bias. Some of the older teams don't get as much love because, a lot of people voting on Facebook have more recent memories of these other years, but it's still a lot of fun. So be sure to go do that. I've got a player profile coming out later this week on freshman wide receiver David Aboya. He's pretty talented, and I think people will be interested to hear about him later this week. And then we're also doing a season prediction roundtable as well. As far as basketball goes, we've got several player profiles up. Jalik Gaines-Wyatt, he is a shifty point guard. He's the lead guard, probably going to be the starter, but, all that stuff's being worked out throughout the summer from Hampton University. Then got one out on Mike Montano from Frostburg State, really versatile forward. Anthony Igidi from West Florida, talked to him after one of the practices a week or so ago. He's kind of like a do-it-all shooting guard. Very athletic, very active hands on defense. And then today we put out one on Cam Wallace, who, if the season started today, he's probably your starting 5 on that team. And very versatile. He averaged nearly 4 offensive rebounds for Little Rock last season. Very excited about what Cam Wallace is going to bring to the basketball team. So all of those profiles are up. We've got several more coming throughout the summer as we make our way toward basketball season, which is still 3-4 months away. So we got a long time, but I'm very encouraged so far by what I've seen out of that group, and I'm hoping they can build on the momentum going into next season. So, okay.
If you don't mind, I'll add one quick thing. This has nothing to do with players with basketball, but this past weekend I was with one of my buddies that works in facilities at Southern Miss, and he showed me close to the finished product of what the ceiling looks like in Reed Green since they've painted it black, and it makes the whole area look completely different and a lot better. So that's a much welcome change for sure.
Oh yeah. Look, when I posted that online a few weeks or whenever it was when they said they were painting the ceiling, of course you get some snarky remarks like, "Oh, some paint, that's it," or whatever. Look, it needed it. You have the dark environment where it's like a spotlight is on the court. Mm-hmm. It's kind of like that vibe you get if you watch, Lakers or Knicks games at those venues. It's kind of like the same concept. it very much needed it. So I'm very glad that they went ahead and took. You got to start somewhere, so you might as well start at the top with the ceiling and work your way down. But man, those concepts of Reed Green and how they're filling in the seating closer to the court and the new scoreboards and all that good stuff.
And the ribbon boards and all that. I mean, it's going to transform the environment whenever it happens. I mean, obviously they've started making some steps, so it's promising that the ground has been broken and there's construction equipment outside of Reed Green for sure.
Yeah, it's not going to be a quick process because you got to kind of work your way around the basketball season. But from when they broke ground, it's supposed to be a 2-year ordeal. So
in different phases and all that. So
yeah, if anything, it is going to change the environment with the black ceiling though. So I am excited about that. But yeah, it should be a lot of fun. Like I said, the team itself, I thought Jay Ladner and his coaching staff did a great job in the transfer portal. Given what the hand that they were dealt, having to basically start from scratch. But then at the end, you get a little bit of a surprise of Isaac Tavares coming back, which is going to be huge. So not only did you reload in the portal, you've got him coming back with the familiarity there. And I think they're in for a very, very impressive season coming up that I think, it'll probably shock some people how good they are from day one. But that's why we're doing player profiles, so people can get familiarized with who's going to be on the court for them.
It always takes a couple of games of me watching, like, who's this guy? Who's this guy? Oh, this is number so-and-so. And it's just, I mean, because with the landscape of college basketball, especially at a team like Southern Miss's size and resources, I mean, it's a revolving door, plain and simple. And if you can embrace that, I mean, you can have some success there. But getting to know the guys that come in and end up staying, that's always fun. And like you said, having Tavares back is something cool for sure.
Well, and I don't know about you, but I mean I can learn a lot from looking at stats and looking up videos of guys, but I'm really more of like a live visual learner. Like I do better when I'm able to, if I can go watch a practice, or if I'm at a game and I'm watching live in-game stuff, like that's where I learn the most about certain guys. And so, that's really what has me excited about, like what I've seen so far with a lot of these dudes. Like it's just, you can tell, like they have prioritized speed, athleticism, size. Like there's only one guy on the roster that's under 6'5", I think, and it's Jalik Gaines-Wyatt, point guard. So they're ready to roll. I think they're going to be ready to hit the ground running. Seems like they've already established some pretty good chemistry so far. So, to be in early July, that's what you like to see from a team chemistry standpoint. But anyway, we are going to roll into baseball now. Have a lot to talk about because, talk about a team having a good transfer portal class. The baseball team hit it out of the park, as they usually do. But, you have a lot of key pieces going out, from graduating. As far as retaining talent that isn't graduating, another perfect transfer portal cycle. They I think aside from what was it, 2022 when they had 2 guys transfer out. It was McGillis and
then Waldrop.
Correct. Yeah, when he went to Florida, McGillis went to South Carolina. Other than that year, like the past 5-6 years, it's a perfect track record for keeping guys. So that stayed the case this year. And then you also added just some really talented pieces. And, we talk about this talented freshman class coming in, but now you have some experienced guys. You got Cannon Peary from Grand Canyon. He was one of the first ones announced, coming in the transfer portal. Brady Wall, and Brady, or if Brady's family is watching this and we are not saying that correctly, we greatly apologize, but we looked up everywhere we looked up like for media pronunciation guides and all kinds of stuff. And that's what we came up with. So if it's not pronounced that way, please let us know and we will get it correct going forward. But Brady Wall from UAB, that was a big get, for some infielder help. Brock Clayton from West Florida. He could play outfield or catcher. Cade Baker from Toledo, right fielder. He's really talented, and he's gonna. It seems like he could take over that Ben Higdon role going into next year. And then some pitchers. Drew Harrison from Pearl River Community College and Luke Williams from East Central Community College. And if I missed anybody, let me know. But I think that was the whole transfer.
Yeah, that's portal. What I have too.
Yeah. But let's talk about some of these guys. I mean, who are some of these that like really stuck out to you, and you're just like, man, this is going to be good going into next year.
I'm really excited for Brady. I read where he started all 58 games for UAB, so that's a lot of experience there. He transferred from Shelton State Community College before UAB, and Shelton State's usually pretty good in the JUCO ranks. But over the whole season, he batted .311 with a .431 on base percentage. So he gets on base a lot. 7 home runs, 12 doubles, and then he had 33 strikeouts to 40 walks. So does not strike out a lot. That's really nice. Some productive ABs. And from what I can gather, just from seeing on social media and stuff, I think he comes from a Southern Miss family. So that's exciting.
That's right.
to kind of have some Southern Miss ties there. And then also really excited for Drew Harrison from PRCC. 11-1 as a starter. That's pretty dang good. 3.53 ERA and then a 1.3 WHIP. And then struck out 96 on the season. So that's a lot. I think you could use him in a lot of ways. What I think they're probably going to do is maybe have him as filling in that like kind of hybrid guy who could go in long relief, but also could start if you need him, or if you need him in a high leverage situation, maybe go there. But I feel like the possibilities are endless with that for sure.
Yeah, and my guy Charlie Lanehart, he's been doing a lot of these baseball player profiles, and one of the things he mentioned in I forget which he's done a lot of them, but there was one of these player profiles or one of these baseball articles he did where he was talking about like the struggles that we had for the midweek games this past year with the starters in those games. So if one of these guys can step in and kind of fill that role, obviously the starting rotation should stay as is with Graydon Harris Friday, Camden Clark Saturday, Camden Sundstrom Sunday. And we'll talk a little bit more about those guys and the great stuff they did at the USA Baseball College National Team training camp a little bit later. But so you have the starting rotation pretty much set. They're going to do their thing. And then if you can take one of these other guys, or even like a guy like Thomas Crabtree, he really came into his own as a closer, toward the end of the season, and really adapted well to that role. So it'll be interesting to see if they keep him in that role, if they try to, let him be a midweek starter, if they, roll out some of these newer guys. Luke Williams, we can talk a little bit about him. I don't know too much about him, but I have seen enough to where it seems like he could be a potential closer. Like maybe that was his main role with East Central. And so
the notes I have on him, 19 appearances with 5 starts. So he did a little bit of both. But over 56 and 2/3 inning pitch, he had 90 strikeouts. So a lot of strikeouts there for sure.
And look, I mean, it could be a mix of a lot of different guys, because we haven't even talked about, but it's pretty self-explanatory. The young pitchers, the freshman pitchers from last year that are coming up now and have more experience, and they're probably going to take a leap from this offseason working out and getting more experience and everything. Bruce Littleton, Sam
Teague
Mitchell,
Broadhead,
Teague Broadhead. Yeah. I mean,
Causey, there's all of them. I mean, given some of them had limited innings, I think the most that was thrown between all those, I think Teague had like 14 or something like that. But I mean, they did great, as a lot of them stepped up in huge moments too. You look at Bruce in the Mississippi State game early on in the season. And then also I did see fairly recently where one of our redshirt, I think Cooper Waddle, redshirt freshman pitcher, he has had a good summer so far in summer ball. So you got some guys like that. But like you said, the possibilities are endless with who you go with what situation and who's going to be your high leverage guy, who's going to get to cover some innings if your starter has a bad day. So the possibilities are endless for sure.
You want to talk about somebody having a good summer? Braden Moranto from he was redshirt freshman last year too, and there were rumbles, that he was giving Kyle Morrison some good competition for second base spot before the season started last year, but they obviously that worked out with Kyle and they were able to redshirt Braden, but he's had an outstanding summer, playing summer league ball too. So there's going to be great competition going into all the preseason practices and stuff like that. And I mean, it's a luxury to have. I don't know if any of the coaches would call it a problem. You're not going to call it a problem, but if it is a problem, it's a good problem to have.
Exactly.
that you have. And the returning talent, the new transfer portal talent, the high school guys coming in. The freshmen coming in who, 4 of them made the top 500 MLB prospects list. And we'll see how all that goes. I mean, I think, fingers crossed. The last update I got, because I've been talking to a guy that's pretty plugged in with, where guys' draft stock is and kind of like what they're being offered and how likely that makes it if they're going to leave or not. And, he seems to think that all of them are going to make it to campus. And if that's the case, it's like, man, this might be the most loaded roster from top to bottom from at least a potential standpoint.
Absolutely.
That the program has ever had. And that's saying something because there have been some heavily talented teams over the last several years. But just from like an overall talent and versatility standpoint, it's going to be hard to argue against, what's coming in next year. And obviously you have to go out there and prove it, but just on paper, that's how it looks. That's what it looks like to me. So
yeah, depth just forever. And it's going to be great not having, we'll probably not have a revolving door at the 9-hole DH spot this year, thankfully. I mean, you've got plenty of guys who could immediately fit into that role. So that's really exciting to look forward to.
And that's where roster retention really helps you because, pitching was such a strong suit last year. And obviously when, there are certain times where over the course of a long season, if the offense doesn't pick up and stay at a consistent level for a long time, the pitching can get tired. The pitching staff had to carry such a heavy load early on last season that you could kind of tell by the end of the year they were starting to run a little bit low on fumes, at least in my opinion, based on how they were pitching earlier in the year, which I guess that's everybody to an extent. But, you could just tell they were just getting a little, fatigued.
Yeah, it gets a little magnified when the offense isn't quite clicking the way it needs to be. And sometimes you can rely too much on pitching to win games, and it really shows when that happens. But with just like you said, on paper, with what we have coming in this year, it's just incredibly hard not to be excited for the staff, the pitching staff, and then just 1 through 9 for sure.
Yeah, you've retained all of your pitching, you've added to it, and then it's almost like you overcorrected a little bit by, obviously you already had the outstanding freshman class coming in, then you're aggressive in the transfer portal and have a lot of, experienced talent coming in there. Like you said, there's not going to be the same Coach Oz and company. They're gonna find somebody or a couple guys at the bottom of that lineup. If something's not working, they can swap that out, and I have no doubt they're going to have no issues finding a consistent hitting bottom of the lineup this next year based on everything that has happened. So speaking of that, another thing that hasn't been brought up because it's been so long since we've done one of these pods, but Travis Creel, after a long, what was it, nearly 10 years or was it a full 10 years? But I
think it was 7 or 8, whatever it was. It was a while.
It was the better part of a decade. We'll put it that way. He ended up moving on to Jacksonville State. He's getting his first head coaching opportunity. So, congratulations to him. He's going to go give that a shot. And, in the meantime, we were wondering like, okay, well, what are the Eagles going to do now? They end up elevating Lad Rhodes from recruiting coordinator to hitting coach now. So he gets promotion, which honestly, this probably worked out well for everybody because, Creel gets his head coaching chance now. And you kind of had to elevate Lad Rhodes, in my opinion, to keep from losing him. Somebody was going to give him an elevated role, whether it was Southern Miss or somebody else. So, he gets the elevated role, probably gets a raise and gets to stay. And then you go out and fill his recruiting coordinator role with Kyle Cheesebro. Am I saying that right?
I think so.
His former,
or just Cheesebro, whatever it is.
Cheeseburger was the first thing that popped into my mind when I saw it. So, I missed an opportunity with that article headline, Cheesebro in Paradise. That was right there in front of me, and I whiffed on it.
But, it was on a T. Come on.
Yeah. But, he was with Mississippi State a few years ago when they won the College World Series. He was most recently with Houston before they had their recent coaching change. And a fun note, which it doesn't do us any good now because he ended up signing with Florida State. But before Houston's head coach, Houston and their long tenured head coach parted ways, Kyle played a part in getting Coy Clements to commit to Houston before they had that coaching change. And so when the coaching change happened, Clements decommitted and then eventually went to Florida State. But, former Eagle there. I know a lot of people were holding out hope that, he would kind of circle back to the Eagles, but that ship has sailed. But he had a great job. I think he set a program record at PRC with home runs this past year. So
one thing about Cheesebro, I read earlier, he's been to 4 College World Series, so 2 with Mississippi State and 2 when he was at Louisville.
That's right.
So a lot of experience there. And then I did read before we hired him, he was actually at Lamar for like less than a month. So he went from Houston to Lamar for like a couple of weeks, and then I guess Oz hit him up and was like, "Hey man, come to Hattiesburg." He's like, "All right." That was an interesting little tidbit. But 4 total College World Series as a coach is something for sure.
Yeah. I think, and look, even the Mississippi State people who I've seen comment on, there's been some Mississippi State people comment on the Southern Miss Golden Eagles on SI Facebook page when I posted that article, and even they were just like, this is a great hire for y'all.
Mm-hmm.
And somebody said, I hope y'all enjoy aggressive base running. And I was thinking like, that would be a nice change from what we've seen over the last several years. And it fits this personnel coming in because several of these guys have, almost as many stolen bases individually this past year than what the Golden Eagles had as a team during the entire 2026 season. So that'll be nice. And then also Dusty's back. Dustin Dickerson.
Yeah.
He is coming back to be player development coach specifically for infielders. So that is awesome news. He
Very
is,
cool.
that
was like news that broke really late at night. I was like scrolling and I saw it on Twitter that Kendall Rogers had tweeted it. And at first I thought I was just reading about just, Cheesebro or whatever. And I read Dustin's name and I was like, oh, no way. Which I don't know the circumstances of what made him want to hang up the cleats and stop playing baseball. But whatever it is, I'm glad that he was able to get back down to Hattiesburg. That'll be awesome to see him in the dugout.
Yeah, he's going to be great in that role. And I mean, not just from like his experience in teaching younger guys and helping them develop, but just like, I feel like the moxie he brings, the attitude he's going to bring to that dugout. I feel like it's going to be a similar situation that when he was a player, he brought that to the team. And I feel like he's going to bring that fire yet again, just from, being an assistant coach and being in that dugout. So that is awesome news. I was fired up when I saw that. It's going to be great to have Dusty back. So Overall, I mean, obviously, you lose Creel. He goes to take that head coaching job, and then like Coach Oz turns around and just revamps everything, it seems like. And it's looking like everything has been enhanced from top to bottom heading into this next year. You're losing a lot of experience, but that's part of what you try to fill with the transfer portal. You hope some of these talented freshmen coming in, Trey Barnes, Henry Apt, Justin Word, all of these guys can possibly contribute from day one. But if it's going to take them a year to adjust, that's fine. You brought in
they have the guys with experience in front of them, not even just from the portal, but I mean, you obviously have Tucker coming back, Seth Smith, Dre. As of right now, Gillespie coming back, but I definitely think he's gonna get a call here in a couple of weeks. But you got some experience coming back for sure. And then that experience, the Southern Miss experience, meshing with the experience elsewhere, will be very good, especially for the talented freshman class that's coming in.
Yeah, you almost have to want, because Coach Oz has always said that he keeps a pretty good pulse on like guys that could potentially go to the draft and what scouts are thinking and all that stuff behind the scenes. You have to wonder if they knew there's a pretty good chance that Gillespie is gone, and that led to them being as aggressive as they were in the transfer portal, especially with outfielders, because you have to think that they're thinking like, okay, he's probably gone. So hopefully, selfishly on our part, you kind of hope that's not the case. But if it is, you can't blame the guy, because he had a down sophomore year. He came back and killed it in his junior year. And so if you can capitalize on that and make some good money and start your pro career, you got to do it. So
absolutely,
we'll see how all that goes. Another note I wanted to make, I mentioned it earlier, but it's pretty incredible that all three Southern Miss starting weekend starters got invited to the college baseball collegiate national team training camp in Cary, North Carolina. They all did great. Graydon Harris specifically, he ended up making the actual 2026 roster, and they'll be going to Taiwan to start the inaugural, I forgot the name of it, but it's the college baseball something championship. It's the first time they've done it, but it's going to be held in Taiwan, I believe this coming Thursday, and the time zones are really messed up. So USA, their first game, they're going to be playing against Korea at like 11:30 p.m. our time on Thursday night, and then there's some other.
Might have to record that one.
Yeah, that's right. But man, that was so cool to see all three of those dudes, competing alongside each other on that big of a stage, and all three of them did great. Now, Graydon got more opportunities than the other two did, which probably led to him being able to make the roster and the others didn't. But the other two did great, in their own right too. And in the finale, I don't know if you saw it or not, but in the finale, Camden Sundstrom ended up with the I forget what it was. It was like a 1-6-3 double play or something
with the
like
fireworks going on and
correct.
everything.
Yeah.
Looking
Really
like something
cool.
out of the Sandlot.
Yeah, fireworks exploding in the background. He gets the double play to seal the 5-3 win to end the training camp stuff. So that was super cool to see. And it was, like I said, it just goes to tell you how talented those dudes are that they got the invite in the first place. Because I don't know of any other team that had three players there, to be honest with you. So
and what an opportunity for Graydon what a trip to just go to Taiwan and play some baseball. That's not something you can do every day.
Yeah, that's gonna be great. And like I said, I may not be watching it live, but we're definitely gonna be keeping up with it and just see how it goes. But well, Campbell, that pretty much covered everything I wanted to cover on this one. I guess we're gonna end with this. We're gonna circle back to what we started talking about at the top of this, because I just want to get your thoughts. Football, that's the next season coming up. We're, I think, about 2 months away now. I mean, what are you thinking for the football season coming up? Because everybody's saying to temper expectations, and I am. just because the roster turnover was so much. But I mean, I'd be lying to you if I said I didn't have, a good bit of confidence in Blake Anderson, setting his culture and getting things off on the right foot. Like, I don't know how they're going to do record wise. I have to think about it tonight before I do the roundtable thing. But, would it shock me if they end up going bowling in his first year? No. Am I going to put that kind of pressure on this team going into the first year? No, but I mean, I could see it happening. But what are you thinking about football as we get closer?
Well, from a coaching standpoint, obviously Blake Anderson, proven winner, multiple conference championships and everything. But like you said, with the complete overhaul of the roster, having to fill in basically every spot, guys who haven't played together. Me and my buddies are actually recently talking. We're going into the football season with just no expectations whatsoever. We're not having high expectations. We're not having low ones. We all have season tickets. We all sit together. We're going to go tailgate, have a good time, and watch some football and hope for the best and cheer on the Golden Eagles no matter what happens. But I mean, there's definitely you have some guys who can make some plays and everything. I'm really not too much like when it comes to really the details of Southern Miss football. I'm more of a baseball guy, which when it gets closer to football season, I'll start doing all the research and everything. But I mean, you have some athleticism. I'm excited to watch the kid from Northern Illinois throw the football, hoping that he has a good year. You'd have to think he's the starter, huh?
I could see Ethan Hampton's who you're talking about. Yeah. I feel like either he is going to be the starter or maybe even potentially John White, because I've heard some really good stuff about him coming out of spring.
That's what I heard as well.
So I could see either one. And I mean, look, you got Landry Liddy coming back too, and he had his moments last year too. But I would have to think at this point it's probably going to be Hampton or White starting. So it wouldn't shock if I had to if you had to say put money on it right now, who's going to start day one, I'd probably go with Hampton. So just from an overall experience standpoint. But We'll see how it goes. I was just going to say one thing I'm not concerned about is Blake Anderson knows how to coach offense. Like exactly. him and the new offensive coordinator, Kyle Salefo, he is a great he's going to be a great offensive coordinator. And Blake Anderson was already a great offensive coordinator. And like you said, he's proven he can win championships. And he's proven he can win championships in this conference. Right. So, overall, I'm not worried about any of that stuff. It's just a matter of how fast are these guys going to mesh and can they play together? That's what it's going to come down to. But as far as what the coaching staff is implementing, I have no worries about that whatsoever. It's just about getting the right talent in place. And hopefully they've done a good job to get that talent in place for this first season. But it's going to be tough because of when Coach Huff left. And when the recruiting and the transfer portal stuff was already in motion, it kind of set them back a little bit. They were rushed and they had to do what they could do in a short period of time. So we'll see how it goes. But, again, just overall speaking for offensive philosophies and culture and all that stuff, I have no worries about any of that long term. So,
it'll get closer to football season and I'll get a lot more excited. But it's, like I said, it's easy just to get too excited, but I'm just going to just keep the expectations, just no expectations, and just look forward to from the Eagles.
Well, that's a good way to be pleasantly surprised. And I get in, I'm just naturally optimistic about most things. And so I can get in trouble with that sometimes because I go into
the slippery slope of that.
It is. I mean, it can set you up for a lot of disappointment, but I am trying to temper my expectations, at least when it comes to football. Now, with baseball, and I'm getting there with basketball too, I'm not really tempering my expectations these upcoming seasons.
With baseball every year, it's just like all the way to the top expectations. It's like, when are we getting on the plane to go to Omaha? And like you said, basketball with the talking about, from what you've seen, it's hard not to get excited for that. And I'll tell you, I love going to basketball games because it's not like a football game where you have to block out your whole day. It's a 2-hour, Thursday, and me and my roommate love going to just texting in the group chat before 3:00, whatever, is that, hey, you want to go to the basketball game tonight? And they're just so fun. I just love the fast pace. So looking forward to being Reed Green this season with the black ceiling for sure.
Yeah, and I mean, it's like they say, if you build it, they will come. And
Yeah.
I feel like if they get off to a fast start, which I think is possible, given what's come together pretty quickly, I feel like if you get off to a fast start, people get excited, and Reed Green could be like really rocking by mid-season. If you get off to that fast start and kind of back up what we're seeing, right now. And man, when Reed Green is full, there's not many atmospheres like that in college basketball. I get it's not the biggest college basketball atmosphere, but it is very unique, and it's one of the more special.
And the way
ones.
it's built and how the sound echoes and everything.
It's awesome. Yeah. So
hopefully the schedule should be releasing soon, huh?
Yeah, we should be getting pretty close to having a schedule release. I know they were working through recently that SBC MAC challenge thing that I think we're still going to be a part of this year, but there was some kind of controversy with that. But we should be getting a schedule release here in the next couple of weeks, I would think. So, well, Campbell, I appreciate you joining me, and to everybody listening, I appreciate you coming in and listening every time we do this. I'm going to start getting back to doing these more regularly as we get closer to football season, but we're kind of in that period in between the end of baseball and the start of football, to where you're just kind of trying to fill in the content gaps. Yeah. So instead of just being repetitive, we're going to make good use of our time and wait until we have a lot of things to talk about like we did today. But we greatly appreciate everybody who comes in and listens, and be sure to go like, rate, and subscribe on all your favorite podcast platforms, and be sure to give us a follow on all of our social media pages as well. Guys, we appreciate it. Y'all have a great rest of your day. Have a great rest of your week, and we'll see you next time.